Welcome once again to The Sage. What a pleasure. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for all the years you've been with us. But we're excited about today, about this episode. It's an episode, a series that we consider to be of extreme importance. We've worked for weeks on it. We've put everything we think we have into it because we think it is a topic that is desperately needed by our world at this time. We talk of nothing less than the concept of peace. Peace in our world. Peace in our country. Peace for all of us. And so this is the beginning of a series that will dwell on the critical topic of peace, and we've called it the pathways to peace. In a world more connected than ever before, peace remains one of humanity's greatest challenges. From global conflicts and political tensions to inequality, fear, and division, the need for peace has never been more urgent. But peace is more than the absence of war. It is the presence of justice, of understanding, of opportunity, and of human dignity itself. It begins in our choices, in our communities, and our willingness to see one another not as enemies, but as fellow human beings. And as we continue this journey of exploration, discussion, and reflection on this age, we will dwell more deeply on what peace truly means. We are extremely privileged to have on set with us today a guest like no other. Dike Chukwumerije is a performance poet, spoken word theatre practitioner, author, and cultural administrator. He was a program director at the Abuja Literary Society, but he is today the executive director of the Simply Poetry Foundation, which he founded to promote art for social change, and I can say with confidence, largely also for peace. But most of all, thank you for being on set with us.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. It's always difficult listening to these intros. You wonder who is being spoken about. But it's always an honor to be here. These are the issues and topics that are close to my heart, and it's always a pleasure to discuss them with someone that shares the same values. A lot of the crisis we face today is from the arrogant will of man believing that you can bend everything to your will. The unwillingness to accept that some things are meant to be. There is a natural law, there is a natural way. You know, there is objective truth. Everything is not dependent on your perspective and how you see things. You know, I think when you start accepting that there is something bigger than us and you're able to submit to it, there's a way it moderates how you act. There's a way it allows you to also let things be. But here we are living in a time where those who have power want to interrupt everything, want to impose on everything, want to change everything. And I think that ultimately that effort, which is the spirit of man, at some point you will encounter there is a limit. We are not infinite. We are not eternal. We don't go on forever. We don't know everything. No matter what scientific or technological tools we have. You know, it's always amazing to me that the more scientifically advanced we get, the more we seem to regress in terms of our values and our character.
And violent. Let me again agree with you and say that perhaps no other time than now is that so obvious. The fact that the few, relatively few, phenomenally rich and powerful people, they're never satisfied. They continue to want to consume the world. And if you look back, that is the problem at every level.
Absolutely.
It is part of the reason for the global crisis.
Absolutely.
It is the reason for many of the problems in our country. And if you look at your communities and perhaps your families, you will find that it is those who keep wanting to assert authority that cause a lot of the problem.
A country like Nigeria, you know, we're dealing with a dysfunctional system, you know, and we need to change it. But the first thing about changing the system is getting to a place where the system can change you.
Okay, so you cannot be manipulated.
You can't be manipulated. It has nothing to offer. It doesn't have anything you want. As long as the system has something you want, you can't change it. Because it will name a price for you. You want something it has. But when a system doesn't have anything that you want, I don't want contracts, I don't want appointments, I just want a peaceful society where I can take my kids to school, bring them back, and we have dignity as Black people. That's what I want. Can you give me that? Everything else you're offering is irrelevant. When you get, and that is anchored again in this sense of contentment that we need to be teaching our young people, because they are growing up in a society where it's all about hustle, show yourself, get out there, you know? And people have forgotten to just
as much wealth as possible, exhibit it, demonstrate it. It's tied to your self-importance.
And that makes them vulnerable to manipulation by the system. Because those are the kinds of people that the system is able to break. Because if that's how you come out into society, then society will name your price at some point. But if you're raising children to be content with themselves, not to look outwards to determine their goals in life, or to look inwards, to ask yourself, why am I created? Why did God put me here? To identify your purpose, and no matter what it is, even if it is sweeping a street, to be happy and content doing it. When you come out like that, then the system can manipulate you. And really, it is only those who are in their purpose that can change things. That's the trigger for change. So it's very important to me that, coming back to this concept of peace, that people are at peace with themselves.
Inner peace.
People have inner peace. That you're not envious of the politician. Sometimes your criticism is coming from a place of envy. You're just cloaking it as criticism. You don't want to change the system. You just want to replace who is there with yourself. And so many reformers are not really reformers. They just want to take the same position as you and continue doing what you're doing. Because they're hungry. They're hungry for the wealth. They're hungry for the recognition. You know, people are tired of poverty. I'm tired of being a nobody. I want to be somebody. That's what needs to be fixed first.
And you know, the irony of that, or the tragedy of that, is that when they get into that position, because the want never ends,
yeah.
They are therefore never satisfied, keep wanting more,
Absolutely.
Wanting power that is unending, wanting more power, you know, and so
because they're not purpose driven, they are incomplete people who are using power and money to try and complete themselves, and you can't do that. But if you are already satisfied, then you would have a problem you want to fix. That's what takes you to power. Oh, I need power to fix water. And when you get there, you use power and fix water. And once water is fixed, you go back to your village. Because what am I doing here?
I've done what I came to do.
I've done what I came to do. I don't need this anymore. I don't need the convoy. But you have people who need the convoy because they have no self-confidence. They have no inner peace. They need the agbada. They need the title to feel like they're somebody. But always inside they know that they are not anybody. And that little person complex shows itself in violence, in brutality, in oppression. Because when you're not confident in yourself, you pull other people down. You need others to be beneath you to feel tall. But somebody that is confident in themselves doesn't want everybody to rise. And those are the sorts of people who make good leaders. And that's what a society needs. People who know, okay, this is my corner, this is where I am. The rest of you find your places. I'll encourage it, I'll facilitate. Because if everybody is where they ought to be, as a collective, we'll move forward.
You know, I watched a clip recently in which there was purportedly an exchange between the two previous American presidents. It's publicly Obama and Trump, and when Trump accused him of not having achieved success and so on and so forth, when he was president, Obama said, "I calculate success as how many, in terms of how many other people did I lift up."
Yeah.
I think that's saying exactly. So for him, success was looking around and seeing how many people in disadvantaged and poor positions he's been able to pull up and live their lives. Not in all kinds of how many wars did I start, and all that and
Absolutely.
all that.
Not how effectively you imposed yourself on others, but how effectively you allowed others to rise. And so we live in a country of 200 million people, most of them young people. But we have a government, or often we are led by people who are quick to say we have succeeded, even when the people are still broken, are still poor, are still looking
And where
around,
poverty is increasing,
but you're able to
daily
say
basis.
I've succeeded because you're looking at maybe 2 roads somewhere, you're looking at infrastructure, you're not looking at human beings. I subscribe to the human school of development, that ultimately the essence of power and governance is to empower people, is to make the lives of people better. Yes, you can argue that we need to do these technical and technocratic things to get to that ultimate objective. But until you arrive there, you don't announce success. It's like you're treating somebody for cancer, they're doing chemotherapy, and then you give them lots of sedatives, and they're feeling better. But the cancer is not recessing, it's getting worse. Yeah. And as a doctor, you're saying, we're doing well. You don't say that. Even if your patient feels better, but you're looking and you can tell the patient.
The lesion itself is not any better.
It's not better. So if education is not increasing, health outcomes are not getting better, people don't have access to housing, clean water, things that empower people in their lives so they can live lives of dignity, take care of their business, take care of their children, then you can't say I'm succeeding if you truly have a heart for the people. So I think these things, when we come back to this issue of being at peace with oneself, I honestly, in fact, yes, you call me a young man, and I am, but at the same time, the older I get, the more I realize that it all begins with self. And it really starts with self, that if I don't sort myself out in my house, within myself, I'll just go out there and bleed on people. No matter what I say I'm doing, if I haven't gotten my house in order, I'm just going to pour my inadequacies and weaknesses and insecurities is what I'm going to channel into the public. There's no point trying to compete for public power when really you have so many gaps within you and you're not being honest about it.
I think this is an excellent place to stop for the moment, and to tell our audience that the next episode on this our series on peace is indeed going to dwell on what you just said. The me and you, our inner sense of worth and peace. And so, Dike, thank you so much, because you've sort of landed us on our next part of discussion with you. Let me say to our viewers that we are indeed privileged. Dike is a very busy person, but he has agreed to discuss as much as he can in terms of time and over several episodes on this very important topic of peace. Peace individually, peace at other higher levels, because they're all interconnected and one leads to the other. And so it's been wonderful having Dike talk about peace from his own perspective, and agreeing to a large extent that it starts from the inner level, the individual, and then spills out outside, because it is what we harbor within our innermost minds and spirits that therefore dictates how we handle any task in the world. And so today we have asked a simple question, but one that we all agree carries profound weight. What is peace? And in the beautiful in-depth reflections we just heard from our guest, from Mr. Dike Chukwumerije, one truth becomes clear. Peace is not passive. It does not simply happen. It is built deliberately, consistently, and collectively. It's all about all of us. It is built in the quiet choices of each and every one of us, of individuals, in the difficult conversations within communities, in the decisions of our leaders, and in the cooperation of nations. We have seen how deeply connected these levels are, and we shall discuss a great deal more on that in the forthcoming episodes. How a single act of understanding in a human being or in two people can ripple outwards and create peace and harmony, but how a single failure can do just the opposite and lead to wars, conflict, bad leadership, name it. And so the responsibility cannot be shifted. It cannot be postponed. It cannot belong to someone else. Peace and the assurance and maintenance of peace belongs to all of us. As you leave this moment, as you turn away from this show, we ask you to ask yourself, what kind of world do you want to live in? And more importantly, what are you, as a person placed on this earth by God, willing to do to help build that world? Because peace does not begin in institutions, it begins with people. We will explore in the forthcoming episodes with you how we can all work to ensure peace at all levels. But in the end, fundamentally, as our guest has emphasized so much in his interventions, peace truly begins with you and I. Peace begins with us. How we value ourselves, the perceptions we have, and how those have helped to shape us into the kind of human beings who tolerate one another, understand that the world belongs to us, and work together, giving each other space, respect, and dignity. Thank you for being with us. See you in the next episode.
Walking through the ashes of dreams we left behind, building walls between us in the corners of our minds. We've lost the love we're owed, the kindness we've misplaced, but the hope is in our hands to rewrite this broken space. So lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. We'll build a future made to last. If we become the change we are. The land our fathers saved is being sold off piece by piece. Leaders count their riches while the hunger never sleeps. The dreams they promised us have faded in their lives, but the power's in our hearts to reclaim what's been denied. So lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. Let's build a future made to last. If we become the change we are. Become the change we are. Oh, the light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are. Oh, so lift the veil and clear the smoke. The cracks will mend where hearts are broke. We're stronger when we reach across. No more sinking in the loss. The light ahead, it's not too far. If we become the change we are, look beyond the shadows cast. We'll build a future made to last. If we become the change we are.